shares more.
Getting vaccinated for flu, COVID-19, pneumococcal disease, and RSV could mean the difference between a mild infection and a serious life-threatening illness, particularly for infants, children, older adults, and those with chronic health conditions. If you have not had a recent doctor's visit or know you have a chronic health condition, talk to your family physician about what respiratory vaccines are right for you and your family.
For more information about vaccines for adults and children living with chronic health conditions, visit familydoctor.org. For help finding a vaccination site near you, visit cveep.org. That's cveep.org.
WGSX Lynn and WPLQ Port St. Joe. Panama City's home for Super Bowl 60. Powered by Panama City Toyota. And now, the Gulf Coast's newest sports talk host.
Hey, there's the new guy.
Paul Wilson.
That is not winning football.
Paul is your pipeline to the heart of the action.
The defense can only play this good for so long.
Hot takes, big reactions, and your calls are incoming.
This week, it's really going to be crucial.
The Sports Blitz.
They're playing championship football.
The new Sports Blitz.
You can say what you want.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's 4 o'clock and it's Tuesday. And you're tuned in right here to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your place for Super Bowl 60 right here in the Panhandle. Don't forget, you want to be a part of the show, you can be. 850-215-6290, the Red 7T's phone line. Red 7T's, your place for all custom apparel. You can visit their Facebook page and as well online. We're pumped up and ready to go, and not as always, but a special treat in the house. We got Stone Cold Brian Austin with us from the Lone Star Bowl House. Brian, how you doing today?
Woo! Doing good, man. Doing
good to see you, man. You got Texas all over yourself today. Are you excited about them Longhorns already?
I mean, hey, look, basketball's picking it up a little bit right now. So.
They're picking it up, but they've got a new, I know this is way, way, way early. They got already a new college football playoff bracket, and guess who's in it? Texas. And Arch Manning leading the way. Oh, my gosh. Are we ready for that already?
No.
Pull back the reins a little bit.
Yeah,
Get on Bebo.
Stress in my
Keep
life
Bebo
right
in the garage. Yeah. Let's don't pull him out yet. Let's let him stay.
Yeah.
And we got a special guest with us. Randy's in the booth. How you doing today?
I'm good, man.
You looking good?
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a great week, and everything's good.
Yeah, we're having fun. I'm telling you, you're about to get your socks knocked off right after we introduce Bone Crusher in the building on a Tuesday.
Hi.
How's it going, Bone Crusher?
Good in the hood.
I know, man. We're doing fantastic. Don't forget tonight, Magic and OKC right after the show, 6:30, 7 o'clock tip-off. We're going to be having some fun. Wendell Carter, my homeboy, going to be throwing some dunks down today. So either way, we've been talking a lot about the Super Bowl, and we're going to talk about that, but I want to bring up some stuff about what's going on at the Lone Star Bowl House. You guys had a little dry spell for the coldness because of the crawfish, holding back a little bit. Don't want to charge them $500 a pound. Yeah. So we're going to hold back on the crawfish, but you got some awesome stuff going on this week, especially for Super Bowl Sunday.
Yep.
So tell us all what you got going on, Brian.
Crawfish will start back on Thursday.
Oh, wow.
Right on.
So all day, Thursday, Friday. We just had to get through. We don't have them tonight or tomorrow because the freeze
kind of got them pretty good.
But we'll be rolling all weekend. Saturday, we have a big Mardi Gras after party after the St. Andrews thing, going down there. And then Sunday is our Super Bowl party. You got to have a ticket for it. All you have to do is message us to reserve, but it's basically, there's a general admission and VIP, which general admission includes all you can eat snow crab, shrimp, appetizers, and then all you can drink select beers, as long as you're responsible with it.
There you go.
Then we have an upgraded one that has crawfish added to it, and a couple other better beers, and a couple top shelf liquor shots.
Oh, wow. So you got a full gamut going on.
Yeah.
So this is going to start what time on
4
Super
o'clock.
Bowl Sunday? Okay,
4
so
o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then how does the people go and get a ticket for
They
this?
can either stop by Lone Star or just send us a message on Facebook.
And what's the address at Lone Star?
320 West 5th.
Okay, and then so let's rewind it a little bit and go back to when you're doing the Mardi Gras after party. When does that start?
Normally, so we have one of the big crews. They do their after party there every year. They normally start rolling in about 5:30, 6 o'clock. So we'll have live music from 6 until 10. Got a really good band playing, crawfish boiling. That's all you need.
That's all.
Drinks
Wow.
flowing.
And I'm telling you what, and the weather is going to be quite good. It's going to be about 50s and the 60s, so you're not going to be having
that's not bad.
That
You're
is
not
a
having-
heat wave.
Yeah, so you're not going to have a bunch of the freezing and toboggans and trying to keep the food hot because it's so cold out. So that's really good. So I'm pumped up about that. But the one thing that I think what we should do, Bone Crusher, we should run us a Uber, get your van going, and let's run an Uber for all these people going home after doing all this.
I'll drive all these guys around.
That's
man.
right.
I'll have a great time.
We could pop a $20 head pop thing. We can make us some quick cash. That's what I'm talking about. So either way, pumped up about
TV
that.
crawfish. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we'll have hand over foot to be able to pay for the crawfish. That won't be a problem. Either way, man, pumped up about that. That's a big week. And then just your regular specials going on the following week.
Yep.
And I'm sure you're going to be doing some March Madness stuff and all of that too, right? So that's going to be fantastic. Y'all are really getting ready to really start spinning the wheels here soon.
Yeah, as long as we don't have any more of these 20-degree days. And
Well,
stuff
I
like
know
that,
that he saw his shadow yesterday, so we only have 6 weeks left of this stuff. So we'll be out in the winter all before
Hey,
you
who
know
are
it.
you going to believe? The weatherman, or are you going to believe some little rat up there in Pennsylvania?
Well, I'll tell you what, the rat seems to sometimes be more accurate than the guys that are on TV.
Point taken.
So either way, we're pumped up about it. I'm ready to go. But guys, we got to talk about some of the things that's going on. I wanted to ask you guys, we didn't talk about this yesterday because I wanted to let it sit a little bit. And you guys, we did not do this on purpose because I want to get your generic responses to this. Now, we've got the Super Bowl winning Patriots of the past coming against the Seattle Seahawks winning Super Bowls of the past. Now, something came out yesterday that was quite crazy. Now, not only is Bill Belichick not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer,
Which is ridiculous.
which is ridiculous, Robert Kraft is also not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Again, ridiculous.
And that's what I wanted to know.
It's playing games is what it is.
Now, does you think it has anything to do with the Patriots being in the Super Bowl at this time? Like, are we playing off of that a little bit because the voting did right after?
Because of the winning record that the Patriots have had for years and years, I think there's some jealousy there. I don't think I or a lot of other people expected the Patriots to get back to the Super Bowl as quickly as they did. I think a lot of people are surprised because after Belichick, or after Tom Brady left and then Belichick limped along, I think that might be what it is. There's a lot of jealousy in the fact that they've been such a dynasty all these years.
Now, the Cowboys, which is your team, they specifically won championships as well, and a lot of those guys got first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And then you think of Jerry Jones, he's in the Hall of Fame. Do you believe that Kraft doesn't deserve the same accolade as Jerry Jones?
Oh, he 100% does.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the third time now with 3 different groups, 3 different coaches, 3 different quarterbacks that he has been to the Super Bowl with. I mean, it started out with the Bledsoe and Bill Parcells way back in the day.
Right.
They lost that Super Bowl, but they still made the Super Bowl.
got there.
Then reloaded with Brady. And it just, that's the best organization we've seen in our lifetime for football. I mean, they do it year. It's crazy. I mean, they had, 3-4 bad years, and they're back.
Yeah,
and they're not going anywhere.
And that's the deal. You've got all of this other stuff going on, but then you got to look at the end of the day, this was a total hit job for both of them.
It is. When was the
had
last
to
time
be.
the Cowboys have been relevant? you know, and he's there, you know?
Yeah.
No, please.
Please hit me while I'm down.
Give me
I'm
Robert
just saying.
Kraft.
No, I'm
That's
just
my-
saying.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, it's been a while. I mean, certainly the fan base hadn't gone anywhere, but I'm a Falcon fan, so it's like, you know, there's certainly the disappointments there, and it's got to be there for the Cowboys. I think that's ridiculous that Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick both got denied.
And I don't believe it was anything to do with what they tried to act like that it was, some kind of scandal, some kind of stuff that's going on.
Oh, whatever.
Obviously, every team, every coach, every person has some things that, you know, maybe not is the greatest. You know, I know Charles Barkley said it a long time ago, you know, are we really supposed to be role models just because we learn how to play a game and we get good at it and we're on TV? Like, why do I have to be this role model? Now, obviously, we want that for our kids to look up to and all that, and we all play into that. But at the end of the day, it's the National Football League Hall of Fame, which means what you did for the sport, what you did for this. We recognize you as one of the greats of all time. You can't put one other coach in there if Bill Belichick's not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yep.
And I think that's, you know, it goes with the stigmatism of first ballot. First ballot's always been a big deal, and they did that on purpose. Who cares what his girlfriend looks like? Who cares how old she is as long as she's adult?
What does that matter?
None of that matters about the time that
It's
he
like
was in
Pete
Pet
Rose. Instead of looking at his off the field stuff, they should be looking at on the field. You know, it's like they're this little prima donna organization, and you know, that has no skeletons in their closet, but they want to condemn all these people.
Yeah.
Some coaches that have issues and bumps in the road, you know, get a pass. Some just don't, and it's not just the NFL. I mean, college is the same way.
Yeah. Well, and if you're a good lip reader on Sundays or Saturdays of any college football game or any pro football game, you probably could read the lips of what's being said on the sideline by the coaches and the players the whole game, even the referees, I'm assuming. And you would definitely, the morality police would need to show up.
Absolutely. Oh, without question.
So, and so I think we're getting into, I think what you're talking about, and I agree with you, is that we're getting into that step to where it's like, you know, are we talking about more morals? Are we talking about out of the game stuff? Now, obviously, the betting on the games and some of this other stuff, maybe that performance enhancing stuff might, but Kraft is not, you know, he doesn't matter how many push-ups he can do. Bill Belichick, same deal. And I know they talk about Deflategate, and I know they talk about the Spygate. So those are the two things, but I mean,
But they still won year after year after year after year. I mean, that's the same thing. Me being an Astros fan, we had to listen to, well, y'all cheated. Y'all banged garbage can lids.
Yes.
They were there year after year after year after year. You can't, okay, 1 year you got caught doing something, but how can you explain being good for this long, though? And that's what the Patriots did.
And then what happened with all the Houston players? They went to all the other teams and become successful, and nobody talked about that. But that's, you know, neither here nor there. But when you look at it, it's just a monstrosity that someone of his stature, somebody that was that good at doing his job of what's going on, that it would be such a crazy way to keep him out of it. And then here they are right before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, and having Mike Vrabel there, which is a former player of Bill Belichick, and a former, with Kraft already being there. We're going to go to the Red 7T's phone line, and we're going to see voters are going to put Kraft, Belichick, and Brady in all in the same year. That's what one of our Buckeye Don said on the Red 7T's line. That would be really cool. Now, also knowing that Kraft and Belichick aren't kind of in good terms right now, I kind of alluded to that last week when we talked about Belichick not getting a first ballot. I said, well, wouldn't it be something if when they do get Kraft in, Belichick gets in, and they're there together to celebrate together?
Well, here's the thing about it. I mean, Robert Kraft can't be mad. I mean, Belichick's the one that won all those Super Bowls, and kudos to him. You know, I mean, if I was Robert Kraft, I'd be saying thank you, appreciate it. You did a great job when you were here, you know?
Well, and it brought them to what Brian said, in which, you know, until you just said that, it really didn't dawn on me how you're right. I mean, the Patriots' dominance for the years that Brady was there, and even when Parcells, kind of was the stepping stone to get them there. When you
now,
look
you
at
want to talk about language? You ever watched any of the old Parcells videos?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you never, you all you could do is watch it. You couldn't hear it because they're just all beeps. You thought the police was chasing you. But like when you think about it, I didn't realize that until you said that. That makes total sense that we haven't seen a dynasty like that. We saw the Cowboys' dominance, but it was short-lived.
Like the Patriots,
right, it was short-lived. What the 49ers did, it was short-lived. What the Yankees did, it was short-lived. All of the, Cincinnati Reds back in the late days, it was short-lived. But now you're talking about this Brady deal, and obviously it was one of the greatest things. I mean, it was on the epic proportions of Alabama what they did. And I know you don't love that freaking Alabama deal, but it's just true.
Again, the truth is the truth. For the longest time, Alabama had a run.
Yeah.
And then Saban left, and I mean, now it's like all of a sudden you're having some issues. But, that's the way it goes, man. It's up and down in any kind of sport, whether it's college football or the NFL. Yeah. You're going to have up and down years.
But when you look at it, what gives me hope is that, hey, they're back again. So that means Alabama could be back again very soon.
That's a good way to look at it.
So I'm pumped up about that.
So are you over the browbeating that Alabama basketball took over the weekend by Florida?
I'm definitely over that because it just I'm so against the G League deal that I just don't want to. I don't want my team to be a part of it, and unfortunately they are. And then now you've got a kid from UCLA now that is actually coming back, and it looks like he played 10 actual NBA games, and they're going to allow him to come back because he's got 3 years of eligibility.
Well, that all followed. Listen, just like Alabama fans used to tell me all the time when you guys were winning championships after championships, listen, you can't blame us. We are following the rules, and that's what these college basketball coaches are. If they're allowed to do it, that's up to the NCAA. If they say, no, you can't do this, then they couldn't do it. They're all just following the rules. Don't be mad at the teams. You be mad at the NCAA because they're the ones that said, hey, it's okay.
Yeah, but I also am mad the fact that, you know what, if you're going to add these players and these are like teeter and totter and close to the rules, at least don't let Florida bust $1 on you. I mean, they busted $1 on them.
They sure did.
And I mean, and I'll tell you what, with Florida Gator basketball right now, they're really pushing. They're starting to gel now, and they're starting to look scary all over again. Now, we see the Big Ten with Arizona and Michigan and all those teams like that starting to push up and pull up and starting to leave all the other teams behind. But look out for Florida. They look like they're pulling in.
I'm telling you what, Arizona, if you watch them, they are scary. Boy, they are an unbelievable team.
Yeah, they're really good. The only thing that I say is that you got to be careful going undefeated all the way through, because that one game you're playing not to lose, that's where it kind of pressures in. You need
to get that loss so you know what that feels like.
Yeah.
Instead of just win, and then next thing you know, you get to tournament time and you lose one game, you're going home.
Arizona's going to lose a game here soon. They have a gauntlet coming up.
There's a big gauntlet.
They've got BYU, Tech, at Houston, Kansas. They have a
Didn't BYU lose over the weekend?
They did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I mean,
Houston beat Tech, and Kansas is another one. They're
Kansas
scary.
is starting to look good.
They're starting to kind of, move.
They stumbled out of the gate, though.
Yeah.
They were ranked high. Same thing with St. John's. They both were highly ranked, and then they just kept losing and getting
St. John's playing good ball again now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And you can't forget about Michigan. Michigan, they started out really hot, and then boom, they kind of
do not forget Michigan State, because, Izzo gets to the tournament every single year.
Yeah, it's going to be a curious deal this year. It's going to be hard to pick, because there's so many top 5, 7 teams right there that all have everything you can think of to win it, and that's what's going to be so hard to pick it. But good news is we are going to do a bracket here, and we're going to make that bracket awesome, and everybody's going to be able to be a part of that. So it's going to be a pump.
That is exciting. People love that stuff.
It's going to be really fun, and there's going to be some great prizes, and I'm sure the Boy House is going to get involved with us on that too. So it's going to be pumping up. I just put him on the spot. You see how that works?
Well, we did the watch party for the championship there last year.
Yeah, so
we'll be doing it again.
Yeah, we'll do it really good there. But let's get into the Super Bowl real quick. We're going to be going to a break in a couple of minutes here. But as we've looked, it looks like that it was starting out at 4.5. Now it's moved up to 5. So it looks like Seattle is looking far as the betting goes, and that's usually how Las Vegas kind of sets it up. And they're pretty close pretty often. So that's kind of what we go on. So if you don't bet, it's okay. But we're just talking about the points as far far as looking at how it's going. And they were pretty accurate during the college football playoffs, so now we're looking at it now. How do you feel like that, Brian, when you look at the Seattle, how they played their last game, and then do you feel like it's a little bit unfair to the Patriots because of how they had to play, how they had to be in that storm, and they really couldn't show their offense to the world because not everybody's watched the Patriots all year. They've just seen a little bit from time to time, and they watched the highlights. That's pretty much how it is.
Maybe. I mean, my money's on Seattle. That's all I know. It wasn't snowing until the fourth quarter of that football game, and the Patriots did not do anything on offense. Nor did they look great against Houston the week before. Mm-hmm. I mean, Drake May turned the ball over a lot. And I know that's Houston's defense. They're really good and everything, but Seattle has a really good defense, too, at the same time.
Yeah.
So I just don't think the Patriots can put up enough points.
Do you think the Broncos defense and the Texans defense, though, being in the top 5 like they are, do you think that had something to do with it?
It 100% does. But you still have to find ways to score more points than where they did and not turn the ball over, too.
And the style Randy, when you look at Mike Vrabel, how he's, built this team basically from ground up, from how he made it from coming over from Tennessee and how they look on defense, it's going to be, Sam Darnold, I've read his stats. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the last 9 times he's played against the Patriots, he's thrown 1 touchdown against the Patriots, and he's had 11 turnovers. So that's going to be something else. How we talked about Carson Beck and, is the real Carson Beck going to show up? Was the true Sam Darnold going to show up in this game?
That's a good point. And I'm sure that the Patriots are going to put pressure on him, get him rattled, and, I mean, who knows? So we'll see.
Both quarterbacks. Sam Darnold, oblique injury. Mm-hmm. Drake May, shoulder injury. So we got 2 quarterbacks. So could we see Drew Lock? Could we see,
Yeah. All it's going to take is one big hit on either one of those guys.
And you know how hype is and adrenaline is and cortisone is on the sideline.
That's exactly right.
But either way, we're going to go ahead and take our next break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit with Steve Barnes from the RebelWalk.com. You listen to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
This is Touchstone service. The Red 70s studio line is open.
Demonstrate how to make a call with your dial telephone.
850-215-6290.
This just in.
Get the latest sports news, scores, and updates from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Follow us on Facebook for exclusive content, behind-the-scenes action, live streams, and the chance to interact with your favorite hosts.
Stay connected. Stay connected. Stay connected.
Join the conversation on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Search for ESPN Northwest Florida and crush the follow button.
I follow you on social media.
We're always here to keep you in the game.
Good afternoon, this is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Tuesday's weather forecast. Mostly sunny the remainder of the day with temps near 64 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. A mixture of very light rain and some clouds tonight, a gentle breeze and a temperature of 58. About the same tomorrow, around 63 with a variety of some clouds and sprinkles. Mostly sunny Thursday and warm around 52. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Crawfish season is back and the heat is on at Lone Star Boil House. Lone Star Boil House is where the locals go for delicious, mouth-watering Cajun crawfish, shrimp, buttery red royals, and everything crab. Plus, Lone Star Boil House is now serving liquor. Get crawfish 6 days a week, open to close. To-go crawfish also available at the front bar, and crush the follow on Facebook for frequent food and drink specials. Lone Star Boil House, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City.
Get ready, boys. Valentine's Day is incoming. Coin and bullion reserves fine jewelry will make the process easy. Earrings, necklaces, diamonds, and engagement rings. Plus, free 1 dozen stunning red roses with purchase of $500 of jewelry or more. For decades, you've trusted Coin and Bullion Reserves Fine Jewelry, the largest rare coin and bullion dealer in the Southeast. Finest jeweler in town, still at 2621 East 15th Street. Coin and Bullion Reserves Fine Jewelry, your diamond headquarters.
The Gator Boys are back.
Florida will cut down the nets. Winners
to the national championship.
And ready to defend their national title.
The rack, layup, good and one. Off the rim. Alley-oop dunk, smashed down by Condon. Oh, yes, sir. Gets the foul line extended, rises for three. Bang, he got it to the rack. Dunks it with two hands.
On your home for Florida basketball.
Florida versus Texas A&M. Coverage starts Saturday at 7 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Now back to the Sports Blitz on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your place for Orlando Magic basketball. Don't forget the Magic at little old OKC tonight. Tip-off is at 7.
They're on their way back.
They're exactly right. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. Right here, 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida. You want to be a part of the show, you can be 850-215-6290. Got Randy in the building, Stone Cold Brian Austin, Bone Crusher here. And now we're joined on the phone with the RebelWalk.com, Steve Barnes, friend of the show. How you doing today, Steve?
Hey, guys, what's going on? Little somber over here. I was a proud member of the Alabama Sports Writers Association for many, many years. We lost 2 members last week. We lost Mike Bolton up in North Alabama, who was the consummate writer for the outdoors. You could say, where I'm going to go hunting in Phil Campbell, Alabama. Where should I go? He could tell you.
Oh, wow.
And Saturday or Thursday, we lost Philip Marshall, who was the consummate pro on Auburn. He knew everything about Auburn.
He lived in Montgomery, didn't he?
He was in Montgomery, ended up in Huntsville, and he started the Inside the Auburn Tigers magazine.
Wow.
And he started 2 of their websites.
Yep.
And something, I tell you what, this sums up Philip very, very well. He died Thursday afternoon. He filed his column Thursday morning.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
Now, here's the thing that's odd to me. 4 years ago, the Alabama Sports Writers Association had their 50th anniversary, so they came up with a list of 50 legend sports writers in Alabama. Both Bolton and Phillip made the list. So did their fathers.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're the only father's sons to do that.
Right. Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, you're exactly right.
And I wish I wrote about sports now because, golly, now I'm writing about, there's a Bone Crusher. I'm waiting for 2 lawyers to call me back and another agent because I came up with an idea that is so simple, it's got to be wrong.
Well, hang on, let me get a pen.
You can hire Bone Crusher attorney at law.
These rev share agreements with these players, they're breaking them right and left. This was about, 15 years ago. Summer's my slow time. Not a lot of college sports going on in the summer. And one year, I got a call from a guy from Nike Golf. And he says, hey, we want to hire you for the next 4 weekends. We have this new driver coming out. We want you to demo it at country clubs. We're going to pay you really good, but we're also going to fly you down to Orlando and train you for 3 days, feed you, drink you, give you a room in a nice motel. And it was one of those weeks like last week when it's freezing up here. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go.
Sign me up.
Let's go. Of course, I had flying from Pensacola to Orlando. I had to connect out of Charlotte. So that's kind of weird. Charlotte Airport, by the way, nicest mall I've ever been to.
There you go.
But got down there and they said, well, here's the contract. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, what's this down here? This long paragraph. It says, oh, okay, that means we're going to show you how we do things, and you can't go work for Callaway Golf afterwards or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wow, why don't Kyle just put a non-compete clause in the rev share?
Wow, yeah. No, that's a true statement. That's legitimate.
I've got 3 lawyers checking on it, and they're like, we don't know, man. God. And I talked to an agent, Alexa Stabler, over on the Eastern Shore in Mobile, and she's Kenny Stabler's daughter.
Yeah.
But she's really, she's a good agent. And I called her, and she's like, I don't know, but when we do get collective bargaining, that's going to be in it.
Yeah.
But I thought, some of the stuff like the kid from Duke that's going to Miami.
Yes.
What if he had a non-compete that he couldn't go anywhere in the conference?
Yep, that would have been easiest. That'd been the easiest play. But at the end of the day, if they're breaking the rules and going through the courts and all of that, it's going to be pushed off and pushed off and pushed off, and they're not going to prolong the season.
Well,
for
there's
that
nobody
kind of stuff.
enforcing anything.
Yeah, exactly.
You would ask me today, has Pete Golding said anything about the Fresno State thing? Why should he? If nobody's going to enforce anything, and if he talks about it, it stays in the media cycle. So just shut up about it and it goes away.
Well, and the thing is like it was like we did spend a lot of time yesterday talking about it, me and Brian and some of the people that called in, and the Dabo Sweeney part of it is kind of took over because of his stance against the portal, and I think that was kind of what everybody was kind of coming off of. So it did kind of catch more fire due to making it more about Dabo being the old standard with the new standard. And then it also, what Brian made a good point about is that, Pete Golden took the team in the playoffs farther than the team was expected to go. And it kind of made some of the old heads mad. Is like, you're not supposed to be here. We got to fix this.
Well, I talked to some Auburn people after Phillip died. And I talked to a guy, he'd been an assistant at Auburn for a while, then worked in the administration and athletics. So I've known this guy a long time. And I won't mention his name because he was a tad, what's the word? Imbibed by that time when I was talking to him on the phone. And he said something I thought was just brilliant. He said Dabo was supposed to be in the playoffs last year, and he went 7-6.
Yep.
And people are getting on him about not getting in the portal. LSU's number 1 in the portal. Ole Miss is number 2 in the portal. Clemson's 71st.
Yep.
He has to deflect some of that attention. How do you do that? You get on TV and blame somebody else.
Yeah, and that's what I think is exactly right.
Coach.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. There's a changing of the guard, and we've got to either, you're either going to get on board or you're not. And it's going to be this year's year is, with all the coaching changes, with all the things that they're doing, this year's probably going to be the year that everybody talks about how the portal took over college football, because it used to be the hit or misses. Okay, we had the Florida State, for example. They tried it, it didn't work, and then now you've got someone with 38% of their starters are portal people, win the national championship, go undefeated, and now you got Indiana as a powerhouse because of it. So now where are we sitting with all of this portal stuff that we've got to now everybody's going to be judged on? It's no longer the recruiting cycle. They still want their 5 stars. They still want to try to get those kids in. But realistically, everybody wants to know where you're ranked on the portal now instead of where you're ranked in high school recruiting.
And what's more important to me is I wrote this probably 2 years ago. I think I talked to y'all about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care about your recruiting rating. I don't really care about your portal rating. What's your retention rating? How many kids are you keeping?
Yeah, and that's going to be it.
That's the big thing.
Yeah, because you got to have kids. You're going to have to eventually. I don't think it's sustainable to just bring in new after new after new. You're going to have those 2-year kids that have been in the program for 2 years, know how you do it, set the standard, know how practices ran, know how to talk to the coaches, know what we're doing, because you're going to have difference of opinions coming in from different schools because you're playing for different coaches.
Well, the other thing is Walker Jones runs the Grove Collective in Oxford, the one who basically finances NIL and stuff like that. And he said something in the interview I thought was great, was the kids like us because we're straightforward with them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of kids will hear, we're going to pay you this much, but then you get there and they don't tell you what you have to do to get it.
Right.
So these kids know how it is, and plus, they are just rock stars in Oxford, Mississippi. Win or lose. They're not like that in Baton Rouge or Tuscaloosa. You lose, you don't need to go to Applebee's that week.
Well, and that's right. I mean, and the thing is that the expectation hasn't hit the state of Mississippi yet. The expectation hasn't hit Ole Miss yet. Yes, they want to go and go to the playoff and making this run. It gives them hope. It now gives them another step towards that step of being up there with the higher tiered teams. But when you look at it, when you're at Alabama, even though Texas hasn't been, all the way to the championship in a long time, but it's there. It's that expectation. Now they're spending the money, and then exactly what you said, you got little old Ole Miss sitting at number 2 in the portal with all of this stuff, wondering if Trinidad Chambliss is coming back.
Well, that's something else Walker said in the interview I thought was just absolutely fantastic. He says, well, a lot of kids are telling us, well, you're Ole Miss. You can't never win. And he said, we finished third in the country. We were the last SEC team playing. Where, you thinking about going to this school. Where were they? Oh, yeah, they were at home.
Yep.
So now, they've got some bullets in the gun to fire at these kids when they come up with, reasons they don't want to go. But Walker Jones, that guy, if they can't retire his number at Ole Miss, but you need to retire something for this guy because he's doing it in all the sports.
Yeah.
And same thing for Keith Carter. They don't have an athletic director in title. He is the assistant chancellor for athletics, which, okay, whatever. But since he's been there, okay, this is the last 6 years at Ole Miss. Baseball team won a national championship. Football team finished third in the country. Last year, men's and women's basketball both went to the Sweet 16. They've won national championships in the non-revenue sports like, rifle, women's golf. The guy knows what he's doing. He reminds me of Jeremy Foley, if you remember him. He was the AD at Florida.
Yeah, at Florida, yep.
And he was, he hired Billy Donovan, he hired Urban Meyer, and he started winning national championships. So that's what this guy reminds me of, except there's one difference between the two. Jeremy Foley really had no ties to Florida. Keith Carter played basketball at Ole Miss and was All-American. He's never going to leave. So you're not, Scott Strickland. When I first met Scott, he was assistant SID at Auburn, and I was assistant SID at Troy, and we both handled, quote, minor sports, so we worked together all the time. And then he went to Mississippi State and got elevated to AD there, and then got hired away to go to Florida's AD. Well, he's a Mississippi State grad. He got his master's from Auburn. He really doesn't have a big anchor to him to Florida. So if somebody, if Michigan or Ohio State decided, we kind of want this guy, he would listen. I don't think Carter would.
Well, that's the difference. And when you, with all of this stuff with Lane Kiffin and with all of bringing on John Summerall, definitely the Florida fans, especially right here in the Panhandle, were definitely thinking about maybe shipping him off too. So that's a good point. I want to get your ideas. I know there's nothing moving yet necessarily on the Trinidad Chambliss deal. I know that I think it's at the end of this week, or is it next week whenever the court date
February
is?
12th.
Okay, so it's
February 12th in Calhoun County.
Okay, with that being said, Jeffrey had looked it up last week, and the way it writes is that when we had talked about it last week, because he was thinking that, he would still be available to go to the NFL draft, then that way, as long as it shows that he doesn't have any more eligibility left, then that automatically rolls him into the draft. So he would be eligible to go into the draft. I just wanted to bring that part up. And I also wanted to mention, so that everybody knows, just in case they just got in the vehicle, we're talking with Steve Barnes right here with the rebelwalk.com. And so with that being said, Steve, is it still feeling like he's coming back? Because I've already listened to a bunch of people online, podcast and interviews and all, and they're almost 100% in agreement that Trinidad is coming back to Ole Miss.
Well, I think so because, he's got a good case. He's got a very favorable judge that I've told you. He graduated from Ole Miss Law, got his undergrad at Delta State where the head coach did, and he played quarterback in community college. You're not going to get a better job than that as a judge.
No.
But I just think he's got a good case. Ferris State just didn't file the paperwork in Michigan that they needed to. So, I mean, I think he's got a good case. I would put it 95% he comes back. But if he doesn't, I'm not sure if he gets drafted because, well, if he does, it'll be very, very late because he did not go to the Senior Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish he had, but that's going to set a dangerous precedent. We talked about that over in Mobile where, you're going to see it apparently in the next few years where a guy goes to the Senior Bowl, then finds out he's got another year of eligibility. Well, I can make more playing for, Arkansas than I could being the 7th round draft pick for Kansas City.
Yep.
So the kid would leave the Senior Bowl and go back to college.
Wow.
Which I think defeats the purpose of the Senior Bowl. But I just think the kid's coming back. And if, like I said, if he doesn't, I think he sits out a year because he's going to sue the NCAA for lost wages. He's got a contract with Ole Miss for $4 million. And he'll just sue the NCAA for lost wages, and they'll have to pay him.
Yeah.
So he can afford to sit out a year.
Yeah. Speaking of the Senior Bowl, I'm wondering if, his spot realistically was going to be in that 3rd, 4th round. And I wonder if Garrett Nussmeier would be in the MVP of the Senior Bowl from LSU. If he, now being healthy, looked good. I remember you telling me last week that during practice he looked really good. I just wonder if he took his spot because it looks like Nussmeier has moved up in some of the draft boards. And so with that being said, there's another quarterback that kind of moved ahead of Trinidad just because of him staying in college. So, yeah, you might be right. He might stick around.
Well, I think Nussmeier was the best quarterback over there. I mean, it wasn't really that close to me. The kid just knew what to do. And the guy from Baylor wasn't that bad. And like I said, the kid from North Dakota State, I think he's going to get a shot somewhere. So, I mean, the quarterbacks over there looked pretty good. The wide receivers looked even better. And I talked to my buddy Tommy Hicks over there, who he runs the Lanyap now. Is that the correct name for a newspaper ever?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. He used to be a Mobile Press Register. He used to write some articles about old Paul Wilson.
For like 30 years. he wrote for the Register for like 30 years. Mm-hmm. And well, Tommy's also a Troy grad, so he knows what he's doing.
Obviously.
Well, he's also on that list of the 50 legends in the Sports Writers Association, and as is Kevin Skarbinski, another Troy grad from Birmingham. Look at those Troy grads.
Oh wow, they're just tearing it up.
Yeah, but Tommy, I tell you, he's always been a little bit of a homer without being a homer.
Mm-hmm.
And his favorite was still Luke Altmaier.
Oh, yeah, from Illinois.
He's from Starkville. He's from Starkville, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. His dad's an orthopedic surgeon for Mississippi State. And he went to Ole Miss before he went to Illinois. Which, that must sit really well at Thanksgiving dinner in Starkville.
I'm sure it does. Well, Steve, we're bumped up against a break, man. We appreciate you. And, we got this Super Bowl coming up. Do you got a prediction?
Usually, I don't really have a pro team anymore. I grew up a Saints fan. Because, Pensacola.
Exactly.
I mean, it was the closest team, and they had Archie when I was real little, and just loved watching Archie run around. But I usually pull for the team that's got the most players I've covered. Well, New England's got one guy from Ole Miss, Ben Brown, an offensive lineman, but they've got two from Troy, and one of them's Marcus Jones. But he only played there for 2 years, then he left. And so now on the roster, it doesn't say anything about Troy. He went to Houston. Mm-hmm. But Seattle's got 3 Ole Miss guys. One's active roster, one's on injured reserve, one's on the practice squad. But the thing is, they've got a defensive back name he went to school at Illinois, Devin Witherspoon.
Mm-hmm.
He played at Pine Forest High School in Pensacola.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
My niece is the principal at Pine Forest High School in Pensacola. I'm going with the Seahawks just because of Witherspoon.
Awesome. Well, Steve, we sure do appreciate it, my friend, and have a good weekend, man.
All right, love you guys like fried chicken.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it.
Wait. With your guest, Love you guys like shrimp at the fay.
There we go.
That's great. Well, when we come back, we're going to dive into Florida State football. We got Taylor Devers coming on the line. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here, 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Get in the game. Call or text us now on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm talking about borrowing money and all this stuff going on, and I had an epiphany. I was like, if you bring in a freshman and he plays for you for 2 years and you're developing that player, I think there should be a limit of the amount of money that he's able to receive from an opposing team. Stay with that school.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Discover the new Kia. Stop by Bill Bird Kia today and test drive the all-new 2026 Kia, where comfort, safety, and technology come together like never before. Explore the new 2026 SUV family that moves you and drive away in a new 2026 Seltos, Sportage, or Sorrento that are built to inspire every journey. Craving performance? Feel the thrill in the luxurious 2026 Kia K5 sedan, crafted for power, style, and you. And for innovation that sparks excitement, check out the 2026 all-electric Kia EV9, a modern masterpiece that's fast-charging, rugged, and roomy. Bill Bird Kia is the original 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. It's the peace of mind that you can trust. Visit us at 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or online at BillBirdKia.PanamaCity.com. Bill Bird Kia, your local community dealer. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for details.
With over 4 decades in business, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to take your collection to the next level. All new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. Buy, sell, and trade. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards inside the Stanford Station on 23rd Street next to Academy Sports. Come see the bigger store and the larger inventory, or visit online, InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
The Gator Boys are back.
Florida will cut down the nets. Winners of the national championship.
And ready to defend their national title.
The rack. Layup good and one. Up to the rim. Alley-oop dunk. Smashed down by Condon. Oh, yes, sir. Gets the foul line instead. It rises for three. Bang, he got it to the rack. Dunks it with 2 hands.
On your home for Florida basketball.
Florida versus Texas A&M. Coverage starts Saturday at 7 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The phone lines are open, the opinions are flowing, and the arguments are just getting started.
You cannot give LSU extra opportunities. With just one loss, they can sneak in there. They're playing championship football.
The Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson is back, and we're putting you in the game.
He has not turned the ball over.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your place for college basketball. Don't forget, right here, you can hear it on Saturdays and even during the week, especially them Gators.
How about them Gators?
Them Gators that tore up Alabama over the weekend. But my goodness, we don't want to talk about that hardly.
Listen, you know I love you like a brother, but man, I watched that game, and every time that Florida would drop one, especially a 3, I would just go,
Yeah, it looked bad. It looked bad, and the thing is that all the stuff that's been going on with Alabama, calling them the G League and all of that, and the statement that the Florida fans were making about whenever he would come shoot at the foul line was pretty top notch. But either way, I'm pumped up about this. We've got the friend of the show from Chop Chat, Norvell Central, Taylor Devers on the line. Taylor, how are you doing today, my friend?
Doing good, man. I know that Florida basketball won their little matchup and everything. I was excited to see Taylor Boboan not get any points for Alabama. But, man, the Gators just winning, it just makes me gross and just you just don't want to throw up. It's all that orange.
I know. The orange does get me too, but either way, we're going to move on from that. Big news coming out of Tallahassee this week.
What are you moving on from that? We're having a conversation about basketball, and then you just kill the plug on it?
Yeah, I mean, we said enough about it. You wasn't here yesterday. We already talked about it, so we kind of moving on to this other issue that I really love to talk about, which is Gus Malzahn is no longer the coach at the Florida State Seminoles, and he has moved on. Taylor, I know that I've been wrong a lot, and I've been right some. But, man, how great is it for me not to have to see the old straw hat walking around on the sidelines at practice in Tallahassee?
You know, the biggest thing I thought about that, too, just seeing the headline and kind of getting the birds and the bees of the conversation of just Gus Malzahn possibly not even being there. I mean, after November, when that stretch come when they lost to Florida and that embarrassing finish to the season, you thought, man, you see the two coordinators there, you see Gus, you didn't know how he was going to be engaged with everything. He pulled his heart out against Alabama. You saw us beat you by 2 touchdowns, and the next thing you know, the rest of the season, it was just like a downpour of just jet sweeps that didn't work, runs that just went for 1 or 2 yards, Thomas Castellanos that couldn't throw across the middle of the field. And it just became apparent that Gus was just very tired of just dealing with the constant pressure of just dealing with everything. It's not only just the ball coach anymore. It just seemed like it was just a whole bunch of hassle that he just didn't want to deal with.
Let me ask you this. Now, I don't know a lot about the issues of why, but I did have my, again, I know that I've been wrong and I've been right. I did have my opinion about it. And outside of something being wrong with health or family or, you know, things like that, was it ever in your mind that Gus Malzahn saw the writing on the wall when Mike Norvell was coming into this year, and then whenever all of this happened with the way the season went, did you think by chance that Gus had one more, so to speak, go after it to be a head football coach, and he thought maybe Florida State is really the place where I feel like I could settle and be the best there? And he took a chance, and then when it felt like it did, and he knows that if this season doesn't line up like it's going to do, that there could possibly be a full gamut, get rid of everybody, and he wouldn't have a chance to step in to be that head football coach. Do you think that had something to do with it or not really?
Yeah, because, I mean, the biggest thing is, too, you saw Gus at the end of the UCF era that he had as head coach. You thought he was going to retire then at that point.
Yep.
He had some family issues. I know his family member was dealing with a lot of things, going to the hospital quite a bit, and that was ultimately one of the decisions that went into him retiring. But it just seemed like the head coaching route for him just never made sense to me, because once you got to a point where you were at UCF, it didn't really work out, you didn't really want to recruit, you kind of caught behind that game, and you just wanted to be the old ball coach again. I thought it would even be beneficial for him to go to high school, just because I think, but now once you look at high school nowadays, it's like, okay, everybody's dealing with this NIL period, and just it's just a lot of drama, a lot of issues that he didn't want to deal with. And I think a lot of times with this, I even talked about it in the offseason. I didn't think he'd last past 2 years. I thought that this would be a reality the next offseason, but I thought this would stabilize your program for 2 years, get you a young and willing offensive coordinator after the fact, or if Mike Norvell's gone, whatever the case is, and kind of move on from that at that point. But it just seemed like Gus was just not really involved anymore, and I just think the head coaching route for him, as everyone kind of suggested, was kind of just off-putting. I just didn't really think it was really a reality for him.
Well, and that's what I was wondering. I wondered if that had anything to play with it. And then also the other step was, you know, the off-field stuff that I wondered about. Now, let's move it into fast forward. I know that we got the Super Bowl coming up, and you know, we're kind of getting into that dead area for college football. But I will say this. After seeing what Florida State did with the portal, there is some life there. Now that Gus is gone, now you've got hiring inside the building. So now they've got less money that they're having to pay, so to speak. So now to get rid of Norvell, I know this is going to sound really bad for Florida State fans, but to get rid of Norvell, it's going to be cheaper now. It's not going to be as much. Do you think that, and I mentioned this yesterday in the show, do you think that there's that still chance, because every time I turn around and I look on TV and it's dealing with Florida State, there's one person I keep seeing and hearing, and they keep showing him and they keep talking to him about Florida State. And it's Jimbo Fisher. Do you think Jimbo's waiting in the balance of the back to come back to the Florida State Seminoles? Come home. Come back to us. Is that still something that's kind of sitting there in the back?
You know, it's kind of ironic because a lot of Seminole fans thought when they hired Gus Malzahn last year that he could potentially be that kind of interim head coach. He's kind of that veteran leadership they need if he was to get let go. Then you saw Herb Hand, an offensive line coach that he hired from UCF, come in. You saw Tim Harris, who is now the offense coordinator, being hired.
Yep.
Then you see Cam Martin, who just got hired this offseason as a running backs coach who worked with Gus Malzahn. Those were three guys that Gus had been teaching from, and you didn't really think that Gus was going to kind of stick around. You thought he might have been that if Norvell kind of stumbled in the middle stretch of the season, Florida State decided to let him go, he would be that interim head coach. Now, all of a sudden, you see Jimbo Fisher is over here talking about how great Florida State is and how they can't just focus on getting wins. They just need to focus on being the better team and being that physical presence. And you're kind of seeing that old Jimbo Fisher coming out again. Now, it is kind of worrisome that he doesn't have any job opportunities, no job interviews, and it just seems like he's just on the TV nowadays. But I think everybody's kind of looking at that Texas A&M era that he had, where he had those great recruiting classes. They never panned out. And you're seeing even at his Florida State days, losing to Wake Forest, losing to NC State, losing to all these teams that he probably shouldn't lose to, kind of has a sour taste in people's mouth because of the way he left the program. I just don't know if the administration, as cheap as they have been in the past as of the last couple months, are even willing to even think about that, just because I think if they want to bring him in, it would be more as an analyst role or something like that to kind of start him off to see if he can do it.
Yeah, we're talking with Taylor Devers with Norvell Central Chop Chat right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. You know, when you say that, though, Taylor, there's one thing that kind of gets me, going with that area is that how much money he made with A&M, that now Florida State could come in and say, look, let's put in this contract that's built in with, when you do well, then we'll give you more money. So I think for Florida State, he could be that almost that sure thing to kind of turn the team, get it away from what Norvell had it as, be that standard bearer, that old school guy that knows how to run an organization, but can get him at a good price, sell it as coming back home, getting him there, getting him locked in. Because realistically, we just had the largest coaching carousel in the history of college football. I don't know who you're going to get. You're going to go take some kid that's 32 years old that's just an offensive coordinator like Kentucky did, and you're not going to know what you got? I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think Florida State needs somebody that's been there, that's done that knows how to do it, and Jimbo's just sitting there in the wings saying, hey, I'm right here, guys. I can do the chop again. Let me do the chop again.
Yeah, and the biggest thing I worry about, too, is during Jimbo's era at Florida State, it seemed like he didn't really flow with the offense the way college football does. The biggest thing that Nick Saban did at Alabama was he basically just, alluded to what college football was.
Yeah.
He made sure that spread offense was there for his Alabama teams, even though he didn't love it, even though it wasn't more the under-center type of runs and passes that he often loved in that I system. It just seemed like there was just a lot of things going on. Jimbo Fisher has not really acclimated to that. He kind of hired some people that he knew more as an offensive line coach, offense coordinator, just to run his scheme, and he ran his scheme to the ground. Now, while he had great recruiting classes, he recruited South Florida very, very well and a lot of these other areas, but it just seemed like it was just kind of catching up to him, and you saw it on the win-loss record.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming. I think he stepped on a lot of toes when he was at Florida State.
It's a good chance.
And I've got really good friends that donate a lot of money to Florida State, and even when he was there, it's like all he did was whine and complain about facilities, and he was just difficult to deal with. And I just don't think that the administration wants to go through that again.
Yeah. Well, Taylor, we appreciate it, buddy. We will talk to you next week, man. Have a good weekend.
Awesome. You too. Thank you very much.
All right, and when we come back, we're going to have the voice of the Miami Hurricanes.
Holy smokes!
Joe Zagacki coming with us right at the top of the hour. You listen to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Taking your hot takes, rants, and takedowns. Let's hear it on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Rich Eisen Show.
Jerry Rice here on the Rich Eisen Show. Who's the best receiver in the NFL today?
I would say probably, I still got to go with Justin Jefferson. And even though he hasn't had a quarterback, this guy can do it all. He can stretch the field. He can out-jump you. He's not afraid to go across the middle. And, there are some great receivers out there, but I would still put him as number one.
The Rich Eisen Show. Weekdays 11 to 2. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Tuesday's weather forecast. Mostly sunny the remainder of the day with temps near 64 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. A mixture of very light rain and some clouds tonight, a gentle breeze and a temperature of 58. About the same tomorrow around 63 with a variety of some clouds and sprinkles. Mostly sunny Thursday and warm around 52. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at Jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
WGSX Lynn 8 and WFLQ Port St. Joe. Panama City's home for Super Bowl 60. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
Are you feeling tired, weak, or maybe you feel old and cranky? If so, I have the answer. It's Max Fit Sports Nutrition with 2 locations, 23rd Street in the Coronado Plaza and in Pier Park North on Back Beach Road. Max Fit Sports Nutrition has nutritional products and professional dietary plans to get you moving in the right direction. So get off that couch and get to Max Fit Sports Nutrition now. Max Fit Sports Nutrition, where you can try it before you buy it.
The Sports Blitz on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, where the listeners call the plays.
What do you like about this guy? He's all flash. He's no substance. And if there's a better opportunity, he's going to jump for it.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Too. It's 5 o'clock. And you're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Your spot for Super Bowl 60 right here in the Panhandle. And don't forget tonight, right after the show, Magic versus OKC. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. Don't forget you can call in and be a part of the show, 850-215-6290, the Red 7T's phone line. Want to give a shout out to Jason Reagan listening all the way from Arkansas. Thank you, buddy. We appreciate you. And we are pumped up and ready to go. We've got a great guest on the show today, and he is a big-time friend of the show, and we appreciate him so much for taking time out of his busy schedule. Joe Zagacki is on the line, the voice of the Miami Hurricanes. Joe, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. Doing good. 2 weeks removed from the championship game, so I'm trying to recover.
Oh, believe me, I understand. That was an extraordinary game. But real quick, Joe, got somebody on the program today with me that's sitting in studio with me that actually knows you.
How about that? And who would that be?
How about those Louisville Cardinals?
Well, they did a pretty good job this year. They beat Miami, and then you got the owner of the station on, right?
That's correct. I do.
How are you, buddy?
Good. I'm doing good.
Good.
So
Great
far,
game,
good.
man. That championship game, man, that had to be fun to be there.
Yeah, once we got there, it was fun. The lead up to it was a bit stressful, but once we got in the stadium and got into broadcast mode, that was the best part of the week. But there was a lot of stuff going on in South Florida. It was a wild week. It was a hell of a game. One that still hurts. Probably could have won that game, but made a few too many mistakes compared to Indiana.
Yeah, that's true. I tell you what, man, there's a lot of Miami fans around this area here, and the feedback that I got from them was that, after the Louisville loss and a few other little hiccups, they were just so excited that Miami got into the playoffs and got to the championship game. It was, the whole thought of it was, Miami football is back, and that's kind of the feel, I think, of the fan base. Like, man, we're back in, we're at the top of the mountain again, where Miami football, should be and had been for a long time. And that's got to be, exciting for you as well, as entrenched as you are in that program. I mean, it's got to be make life and your job a lot easier.
Well, I feel like we're probably never going to have the days that Miami had in the 80s and the 90s and stuff like that, in the early 2000s. That's going to be tough for anybody. But I do believe, especially in this present format, but I do believe that the University of Miami is back to relevance, and they are back on equal footing with all the other blue blood great programs. They beat Ohio State, they beat Ole Miss, they beat Texas A&M, they beat Notre Dame during the course of the season. So I think when you start talking about Alabama and LSU and Florida and Ohio State and Michigan, now you got to go back and start mentioning Miami again, because they should be, and I believe they will be, a contender every single year.
Well, and that's the thing about it, Joe, when you look at how good they played, and that's what I love about this playoff system that we've got. Now, I am a big pusher of the 16 teams. I think 12's good. I think 16 would be great. But it was able to see a Miami team that was just like a tournament team, that were playing and just got hot. And you could see that Indiana was really good all year long. They were the best team in the country almost from week one. But then you've got this Miami team who, this is what the college football playoffs is all about. It's the team that is the hottest. It's the team that is playing the best. And then they go in and play the team that had kind of been the best all year. And it was a mega match to me. I thought it was. Absolutely. I thought it was definitely equal in as far as, the plays and all of that. Some people thought that Cignetti, obviously the love and the fanfare that Cignetti's got this whole year, that he made some adjustments that made an outcome and a difference in the game. I wasn't so much a part of that, but I think there was just a couple of plays, like you said, that could have just went the other way, and then we're talking about a different national championship outcome.
Well, the block punt probably changed everything.
Everything.
You can't win a championship game when you have a block punt. I know the other side of that is people would say, well, they punted from their end zone. Indiana would have had great field position. Who's to say they wouldn't have scored anyway? Well, who's to say that the quarterback wouldn't have been sacked, blindsided, sacked, and fumbled the football?
Correct.
And, Miami recovers. The fact of the matter is they had a lazy play at the worst time of the season. Two guys missed blocks that cost them a championship. That's what it comes down to. There were two players involved that, for whatever reason, at the most critical time of the season, when you're punting out of your own end zone, it's all hands on deck. It's red alert, and they weren't ready. And they allowed the punt to be blocked, and it cost them, the championship. Miami, to your point, Miami was in the playoffs starting in November, and I do think the 12-team playoff does give teams like Miami that opportunity where there's hope at the end. If it's a 14 playoff, they never get the chance.
Yep.
For the 12-team playoff, then you have a team that at the end of the season starts playing good football, and you say, hey, if they get in, they can do some damage. It just so happened Miami played really good at the beginning of the year, and outstanding at the end of the season, not so good for 2 weeks in the middle of it. That nearly cost them that opportunity. But they took advantage of what they had. They won every single game at the end of the season. They got better and better. Their playoff run was remarkable. The games they won were incredibly high-level, intense football games with a chance to win it all with less than a minute to go in the game. And, of course, we had the interception at the end. I would have preferred, rather than taking a shot where they took the shot, I would have preferred maybe a couple of other underneath passes. And, maybe, now it would have been tight because no timeouts, but I really would have liked to have seen Malachi Tony get his hands on the football one more time.
Yeah, that was the thing I was a little bit, kind of made me wonder a little bit. I thought maybe one or two more sideline passes, something kind of underneath, like you're talking about, something get outside in the flat to get me, some kind of something to stop the clock, get a little closer, and then get two more shots at the end zone, something like that. Kind of what the NFL does a lot of times when they're doing their 2-minute drills. But when you look at it, that was some of the best football that we had seen all year, and both teams deserved to be there. Both teams played their hearts out. And, outside of the punt, realistically, it was an equal match game. Let me ask you this, Joe. When you look at how, I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and just so everybody knows, we're talking with Joe Zazaki, the voice of the Hurricanes, right here on 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida. Joe, when you look at the way that Miami was able to get into the playoff, and you look at how you had a Duke win the ACC, and now we've seen that the rules for the ACC is now changed. How do you like that part? Because realistically, it was a guessing game. It was I'm wondering if we're going to get in, and then Miami or Duke wins the ACC, which is one of the things that needed to happen for Miami to even get a shot. And then now we see it. But now the ACC has made the rule changes, and it's going to be a better format now. Do you like that they did that so that now we know sooner than having to do all this waiting because we don't even know what they were doing before?
Is this the part of the show where I get to beat up the ACC?
That's right. Yes, sir. It's the open part.
Yeah. Well, I just don't. It did not dawn on me during the course of the season until it was too late that they had this ridiculous tiebreaker in place. I was probably as shocked as anybody else. I just kind of assumed that there would be more clarity or an easier path to the ACC championship. I just have not been in sync with the ACC for the last couple of years. They, to me, have been, their spiel has been, we need Miami to be great. Okay, you need Miami to be great, but let's look at the schedule you gave them this season.
Yep.
You start them off on a Friday night or whatever it is, Friday night in California. You got them on another Friday night against Wake Forest. Later in the season, you've got them on a Friday night at home against Virginia Tech. And then there's a Thursday night game. So 4 weeks, your best team is not playing on Saturday when everybody watches college football.
Unbelievable.
Your best team is playing on a night where your team's not going to be at their best. Football is about a rhythm and being on schedule and doing the same thing day after day. Playing on a Friday, then a Thursday, then a Friday, then a Friday, and putting your team in harm's way is not doing your conference justice or one of your best teams. Michigan doesn't play on Friday.
Nope.
Ohio State doesn't play on Friday. Alabama doesn't play on Thursday or Friday. I don't know why they put Miami in those situations. That's just the beginning of it. Do I need to get to the officiating? That's just god-awful.
You're right.
So the fact that, and to me, what they always seem to be doing is somehow, rather than going, okay, we've got Miami where we want them now, let's see if we can enhance it and make it better. No, they want to kind of put their thumb on Miami, squish them down so that they can elevate Duke and Wake Forest, the bottom of the league, which people don't give a damn about anywhere in the country when it comes to college football.
And see, that's where I don't understand. It's like you're trying everything you can to push your conference, and you've got to push your best teams. And you know as well as I do, like you said, when Miami's great, it makes everything better in the ACC. And so why would you put them on the nights that high school football is going to dominate the areas that everybody's going to watch because they got the kids or they got the grandkids or whatever? And that's the thing. It's like, why would you do that? And it just makes zero sense. And I think Cristobal was 100% accurate when he was up in arms about it. And even Florida State, they're up in arms about it because of their schedule as well. Yeah. It's just terrible. Plus, when you got these California teams that you're having to travel all the way across the other side of the continent.
If you look at last year, they put Clemson on Friday, put Miami on Friday, they put Florida State on Friday. Now, Randy, they had Louisville play on 2 of those Fridays.
Yep.
One was against Clemson, one was against Miami.
Yep.
Louisville, they were the winner. But you could look at it the other way and go, no, Louisville won one and lost one. You could look at it the other way and go, well, Florida State lost twice, Miami lost once, and Clemson needed a miracle to win on Friday night.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand why. I know the ACC's argument is.
I do too. It's exposure.
Yeah, it's exposure when nobody else is on, but your conference needs to be in a place where it's so good, people are watching no matter what. And that's that. You know, when you're not trying to come up with some kind of gimmick to get people to watch your conference and using your best teams to watch your conference.
Hey, Joe, let me ask you this. You know, I think I'm looking at Miami's upcoming season, and they're showing Florida A&M is a Thursday. They're showing Virginia Tech's a Thursday.
That's right.
Stanford's a Friday. So nothing. They didn't obviously listen, and they're continuing to do it. Why would you put your league's best team on a Thursday or a Friday night? That just does not make any sense to me at all.
That is my point. And sometimes, it's the price of doing business. You've got to take care of your best teams. When Miami was playing Ohio State at the Cotton Bowl, I was talking to some people at the Big Ten, and they said, you know what? Whatever Ohio State wants, they get.
Yep.
That's just because they're the crown jewel of that conference with Michigan and Penn State. For Miami, it always seems that they're taking a back seat to somebody else inside the ACC. Now, I'm going to qualify some of this and say the asterisk is Hard Rock Stadium has some weird dates this year because they have the World Cup this summer.
True.
And so, therefore, the stadium is like off limits from June until August because of the World Cup. And that has pushed some of the summer concerts into the fall. But the game that really bothers me is playing Wake Forest on a Friday night at Wake. There's no reason for that. And late in the season, Miami's playing Virginia Tech at home on a Friday night. Nobody can get to the stadium on a Friday night. In addition, that Friday is high school playoffs.
Yep.
By the time we get to that time in November, it's the high school playoffs, and you're not doing them any service by putting a rival game. Miami and Virginia Tech should not be on a Friday night.
No.
That should be a Saturday game. It's a rivalry game that should be celebrated that way.
Yes, you're exactly right. And don't forget who's coming, who that is. That's James Franklin. James Franklin's first game against Miami. I mean, that could have been a huge buildup. That would have competed with any of the other games. Everybody would have wanted to seen that on a Saturday. And that's what's amazing to me. Let's move over, Joe, if we could. We got about 5 minutes left, and I just wanted to get your ideas on how you feel about what they've done in the portal with bringing over Mensah, bringing over his best wide receiver from Duke, and all of that stuff that happened. It just looks like Cristobal has found his groove in finding these guys, and obviously Cam Ward, Carson Beck, and now Mensah.
It's a big coup. We can all argue whether or not, it's the right thing to do in terms of acquiring players or how you acquire players. But that's the world we live in today.
Yeah, it is.
Right? That's the world we live in today. And Mensah looked at Miami. He saw Cam Ward win the Heisman Trophy and become the first pick in the draft. He saw Carson Beck go to the championship game, probably changed his fortunes. I think with Mensah, if he looked at those two quarterbacks, what he could learn from Miami and those two quarterbacks, because it would be this. Miami's going to give you that opportunity. They give you great coaching. They're going to give you the ability to grow. Now, if you look at Ward and Beck, what Mensah has to look at is those two guys used 9 months to change their lives, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it was, 8 months, 7 months. They used the time. From the time they set foot on the campus of the University of Miami, they used every hour, every day to change their lives. For Cam Ward, he became the first pick in the draft. For Carson Beck, he was able to go from not being able to throw a football to 1 minute away from winning the championship. That's pretty good. And if I'm Mensah, I look at that and go, I can take that same path and maybe I get the hat trick. I win the championship, I win the Heisman, and I become a first-round pick.
And that's what it's gotten to. And that's okay because that's where it is. Everybody's doing it. And like I said, too, earlier, with how it flows and how he's been able to get them there, when you make a run and deep into the playoffs, obviously unless the NCAA somehow, some way, fixes these problems to where they sign some kind of contractual agreement that it's going to be stuck, that you're there. And I don't know if you can, one of the people wrote on there that I'm not sure that the compete clause would work in this scenario, but because you're talking about possibly being in different states, but there's no rules that have been broken, and that's just the way it was. And with him being able to go there, I think he immediately pushes himself up. But also, not only that, Miami also now looks as though they're going to be a rebuilding team because those guys have got experience and playing in the big games, and you saw what he did in the conference championship.
Well, they also did a good job of replenishing their offensive line and their defensive line. And they can promote from within. They've got a lot of young players that are ready to step up and become very good players and ready to contribute. So I think he's done a very good job of managing the roster. And as much as anything, I think people, players, they watch the way Miami played in this postseason.
Yeah.
And good players want to be around great players. Other great players want to be around great players. They saw the unity of Miami. They saw the way they played together. They saw them play football, right? That was football. Hard-hitting, physical football on both sides. And other great players look at that and go, man, that's what I want to be a part of. Those guys played together like a team. They weren't out on an island by themselves or for themselves. They played for each other. So that's going to attract other players to this program.
And the way that he was able to keep the players that already were there, that was a big deal. A lot of people had talked about what Malachi Tony was going to do, how much money was he going to be able to bring from other schools by how great he was, and him just not doing anything but just being happy. I remember I saw the quote from his mom. She said, "We're home," and that was it. And I thought that was a great statement.
That's
Joe.
Awesome.
Well, he grew up, 5 minutes from Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah.
And this is his home, and he's been well taken care of by the University of Miami. He's well loved by this community. He's very comfortable here. There's no reason for him or his family to put the periscope up. Everything he needs, everything they want is right here.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's wonderful, and that's what it's all about. Well, Joe, we're up against a break. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come on and be a part of us, and we love to have you. And, Joe, I was going to tell you, especially in that national championship game, if you ever need a color guy to come on board with you and help, I know a guy right here sitting in this chair.
He's about to make Don Bailey Jr. mad.
I got you. I hear you.
Joe, thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, Randy. Always good to hear from you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Joe Zazaki, everybody. Thank you so much. And when we come back, we are going to dive into the Super Bowl a little bit. But first, we got to figure out what happened with all of these head coaches in the NFL. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
The Red 70s studio line is now open. 850-215-6290. ESPN Northwest Florida. The Dan Patrick Show.
By the way, I did give you a heads up that when Tom Brady was slobbering all over Clint Kubiak in the NFC title game, talking about his guy, and I go, Tom's going to hire Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks, to take over for the Raiders. Kubiak. Oh, is that how Tom is going to pronounce it?
Yeah. It's the Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Tuesday. For tonight, a variety of very light showers and some clouds and a low of 58 with a gentle breeze out of the south at 11 miles per hour. Tomorrow morning, light rain with temps around 62. In the afternoon and evening, a variety of moderate rain and mostly clouds and a temperature near 63. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at Jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
The Gator Boys are back.
Florida will cut down the nets. Winners of the national championship.
And ready to defend their national title.
The rack. Layup good and one. Up for the rim. Alley-oop dunk. Smashed down by Condon. Oh, yes, sir. Gets the foul line extended. Rises for three. Bang, he got it to the rack. Dunks it with two hands.
On your home for Florida basketball.
Florida versus Texas A&M. Coverage starts Saturday at 7 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Some people say our opinions are toxic. We say they're just a little terminal. The Sports Blitz.
This malpractice committee has received a few complaints against you.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your place for Orlando Magic basketball. Speaking of, tonight, right after the show, 6:30 starts the broadcast. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. The Magic play OKC. They're going to put them back in the losers bracket again. OKC been looking okay this year, but not as good as last year. Seems like they've started being a little more human. So hopefully the Magic can get a space going to where they can start rocking and rolling. Wendell Carter Jr., my new friend over there. If you want to be a part of the show, that would be awesome. You can call in. You can text in on the Red 70s phone line, 850-215-6290. Also, if you want to check us out on Facebook, you can see how good-looking Randy is sitting in that chair today.
Let me tell you something. If they see me on Facebook, they'll say, you know what? Now I know why this guy bought radio stations, because he certainly has the face for it.
That's right. That's a good thing. I would say that Bone Crusher and I, we would not agree with that situation for us. We like to be on camera as well as the radio.
You got to live with what you got.
That's right. But either way, so glad to have you here. Randy, obviously this year being the craziest year that we've ever had in college football, and now the craziest year that we've ever had in the NFL. With all of these coaches leaving, we finally got all of the coaches established about where they're going and who they're going with. And some of them is crazy. Now, let me throw this out there to you. Let me ask you what you think. Are we looking at now a time where Sean McVay all 5 of his offensive coordinators that he's had in his history of being...
You're talking about at the Saints and all that?
No, where he is at the Rams. Every Ram offensive coordinator that Sean McVay has had is now a head coach in the NFL.
How about that?
I mean, you're talking about a coaching tree, and this guy's young.
So it's almost it duplicates the coaching tree of Saban in college football.
It does, but with only one Super Bowl victory. He's only won it one time. So my question is, now everybody's darling of this year's hiring cycle was John Harbaugh. Everybody was saying that was the pick, that was the one, that was this, that was that. But if you look at it, the winner of all of this is Sean McVay. He's got all of these guys that used to run plays and call plays for him, and now you've got these guys now all taking head coaching jobs. So if you look at it, now you got both LaFleur brothers. So you got LaFleur out of Green Bay, and now the other brother, Mike LaFleur, is now the Cardinals head football coach. 2 brothers. So now not only the Harbaugh brothers are in the NFL, now you got the LaFleur brothers there. But when you think about the LaFleur brothers, the brother LaFleur at Green Bay was looked at, there's a possibility that he was not going to get a contract extension, but it ended up happening. And so now you got both of those brothers playing. Now, out of all of these, which one shocked you the most? Because when you look at it, you had Stefanski going to the Falcons, Jesse Minter going to the Ravens, Hafley going to the Dolphins. And some of these guys, a lot of people, if you don't follow NFL football, you probably don't even know who they are.
Right,
you know,
course,
obviously.
Yeah.
But you got Clint Kubiak. Now, Kubiak, you remember the name. He's another son. It's crazy how these guys go, how they follow their dad's footsteps, and now they're...
A lot of them do.
It's crazy.
In all the sports, you think about basketball, college football, the NFL, they all do. That's how they're raised up around it. You know, I think about kids like, you know, Richard Pitino and the list just goes on. Well, I mean, Bruce Pearl's son, Steven, now is the head coach at Auburn.
That's right.
So it's like it's in every sport. The biggest disappointment for me that I think that out of all the coaching changes was the fact that John Harbaugh did not go to Atlanta.
That's what you wanted?
Yeah.
You wanted him in Atlanta. Bone Crusher, you're an Atlanta Falcon fan.
He's a Falcon and a Georgia Bulldog.
Were you looking for Harbaugh to come in? I mean, obviously, I didn't ask you to come on and talk about it, but, I mean, were you looking at Harbaugh, or are you okay now with Stefanski?
I'm still feeling my way through these changes in Atlanta, so I'll have an opinion probably about halfway through the season.
Yeah. And the thing is like, you know as well, and me and you both were Kirk Cousins fans. As far as stability, now he can have a Kirk Cousins day where he'll throw 3-4 interceptions, have some turnovers, and not look so good. But then the next week, he could come in and throw 4 touchdowns, 325 yards. And
500 yards.
Yeah. And so, but now they're getting rid of him. And I guess they're going to go the Michael Penix way.
We're getting rid of Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, we're going to the Falcons are going to move on from Kirk Cousins. So sorry to break that news.
You ruined my day.
I'm just so sorry. But I mean, you do have the other guy that's going to be there, Michael Penix, and I'm not a big fan. But either way, we talked about that. So the for you, Stefanski is still out. Now, just so you know, Stefanski did do a really good job at the Browns. Now, the ownership, I think they kind of stepped in when Haslam came in and kind of stepped in and kind of made decisions. And I know that's what the general manager and the owner's supposed to do. But Stefanski, as a whole, won Coach of the Year twice, took with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, went to the playoffs. So, I mean, really had a great defense. So, realistically, when you look at it, Stefanski, he's done okay. But with the
it's not exciting. You're not.
I'm trying.
You're not.
I'm trying. I mean, the only thing we could have done is give you Kirby Smart and let him come on board and just take over the Falcons.
He can coach 2 teams.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, that's the CEO. But anyway, so let me ask you this, though. With Georgia, obviously the 2 championships that Georgia had won, Todd Monken was the offensive coordinator, not Mike Bobo, who's there currently. But Todd Monken went to the Ravens, and he was the offensive coordinator. Now he steps in as the Cleveland Browns head football coach. So this is going to be his first attempt at being a head football coach with the Cleveland Browns.
Is it because they can't get a seasoned NFL head coach to go to Cleveland? So this guy here says, okay, I'll take the job.
There were so many people that turned that job down.
Yeah.
And so many that took their name out of the interview. But it also was a part, too, that the interview process was really ridiculous. They were wanting them to write essays. They were wanting them to come in and do personality tests. They were wanting them to do all of these things that usually you don't see. And they wanted statistical stuff to kind of talk about what made them good coaches and all of these things. And it was like you had to, write a paper and thesis and an essay.
That's like going back to school.
Right.
I wouldn't have done it either.
Yeah. So not to go back and coach and have to be on the play of is Shedeur Sanders going to be your starting quarterback? That's the problem.
God.
You imagine your first job as an NFL head coach and you get to say whether or not Shedeur Sanders or 5'8" Dylan Gabriel is going to be your starting quarterback. With all of the backlash that Stefanski took with not starting Shedeur Sanders, not even letting him play, not even letting him throw to the ones, only letting him throw to the threes and the fours if he let him throw at practice at all. To him eventually starting, Shedeur now making the Pro Bowl after throwing 7 touchdowns with 10 interceptions on the year.
God bless.
Now you step into a role with Todd Monken, whether or not you're going to start Shedeur Sanders, because Shedeur Sanders, you know what he did at the Pro Bowl, right? You know he was all over the interviews at the Pro Bowl. Mm-hmm. He's a very popular player. He's a very popular figure in the NFL. But his play hasn't produced that. His popularity is from the social media and from who daddy is.
And that's exactly what I was about to say. It's all about, what he was raised around. And, Dion, whether you liked him or not, he was a showboat. He had a personality that was on steroids. It was just, he was just on fire.
Yeah.
And so that's what, Shedeur was raised around, and that's what he's used to. And it's the whole, I just think the sports writers and reporters and stuff, they get locked in on that stuff. Doesn't matter how they play. It's about selling newspapers, about the excitement of it, and then that's what they're focused on.
How did he get to the Pro Bowl? Isn't like a third of it is based on fan voting?
It's not. So basically, you get offered the opportunity based off of the committee that picks it, and then what happens is a lot of the people turn it down because of injury or because they don't want to go, because they got other plans or they got to work out or they got to do this or that. But it eventually got to him. So even like Justin Fields actually turned it down. And so realistically, it basically is just a popularity contest now. And all they do is play flag football. So it's not like it's a real game anymore. So it's kind of like, is the Pro Bowl going away? The Pro Bowl is going to go away if they keep putting people in that do more interceptions than they did touchdowns. Because that's not Pro Bowl, that's Stink Bowl. So when you look at it, it's crazy. But one thing that's crazy about this whole scenario, and I'm going to repeat this. I know that I said this probably about 3 or 4 shows ago. But what's crazy is when Todd Monken was at Georgia, he recruited Shedeur Sanders to come there. Now, obviously, whenever Shedeur Sanders went with Dad to go play at Jackson State, that was when he was supposed to come to Georgia to play quarterback at Georgia for Todd Monken. So he didn't get him there. All right, so that's part one. Part two is that whenever he was at the Ravens, Todd Monken publicly came out and said, I want to draft Shedeur Sanders to be backup for Lamar Jackson. He didn't get him. Now he finally gets the head coaching job at the Cleveland Browns. Their first interaction, they show the cameras. They're there. They come in, and he says to Shedeur, I finally got you. So after all these years, now Todd Monken has finally got his quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. So I guess with that being said, Shedeur Sanders is a starting quarterback. He's QB1 going into next year as far as whenever he first starts the season, because that's what it's the expectation.
You think he'll do well in Todd's system?
I think that he will create ways to do it, but I also believe that when you do something like this, when you go ahead and take that mantle, when you go ahead and do this, that you're going to have to live and die on that hill. And if he's not successful, he will be the reasoning why Shadur Sanders wasn't successful, and he will be the problem that they will always blame for Stefanski, but then they'll push it all over to Monken as well.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but Monken is not a dumb man. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. Now, for the sake of time, I'm going to push it through just a little bit, but I want to talk about one of the things that I think, far as these coaching hires, that was really good. I'm not so sure about the Tennessee hire with Robert Saleh. I think he's going to do better than what they've been doing, but I'm just wondering, I'm not sure. Obviously, he went to the Jets the first time, failed miserably there, but now going to the Titans, I'm wondering if he's going to be able to get some good draft picks. The one that I thought was the best, I think the one that's going to be the most stable outside of John Harbaugh, is Mike McCarthy. I love the hire of Mike McCarthy going to Pittsburgh. Now, Jeffrey thought it was a terrible hire, but I loved it. And where Jeffrey is, he's in Disney World with wearing mouse ears today, just so you know.
Yeah.
I
saw his post on Facebook. Yeah, he had those mouse ears on.
Oh, my gosh.
Running around in shorts down there. And,
nobody wants to see that.
Eating Mickey Mouse ice cream and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It reminds me, the Mike McCarthy hire at Pittsburgh reminds me of his years with Green Bay. They're both of those cities are very similar. They're in cold climates. They're very industrial cities. So I think the Steelers will welcome him in. I think he'll have some success. I'm just not a big fan of recycling coaches. But on the other hand, there's been coaches that have maybe not done so well at one program, goes to another and has just unbelievable success. But time will tell. And sometimes change is good.
And I see what he did with the Cowboys. If you look at what he did with the Cowboys, he did really turn them around. He got them set up to where they went. They were really good football players. And don't forget, with Dak, the best year that Dak had ever had was with Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
So don't forget that. What he did with Brett Favre, you cannot say anything against. What he done with Aaron Rodgers, you cannot speak against. And then what he done with Dak, it was good. So the question is going to be, is Will Howard, the quarterback of Ohio State, is he going to be healthy enough to come back? Or is Aaron Rodgers Part 2 going to happen again with the Steelers and then bring back him and Mike McCarthy? McCarthy's already spoken to it and said that he would love to have Aaron Rodgers back. So that is his state, but it's for Aaron Rodgers' decision whether or not he's going to want to come back or not. Now, I think Aaron Rodgers can play winning football. I don't think Aaron Rodgers can play playoff winning football. I think they can win football games during the season, but I think the body is the body, and you can't move with these guys.
How old is he now, 40?
He's 43, I think, something like that. Yeah, so a little bit younger than me.
Huh? Yeah, just a little bit.
I always make sure everybody knows that I'm the young chicken in this building. So anyway, when you
the young what?
That's easy to do around here. I mean, all these old thin-blooded guys coming here wearing their winter clothes 24/7.
I know. Yeah, and keep it hot. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But either way, we're going to go ahead and take our next break, and when we come back, we're going to discuss a little bit more of this, but we got some surprises for you. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Call or text him now on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your spot for college basketball.
And it goes in at the buzzer. Got it.
Listen to select games from the LSU Tigers, Florida Gators, the Auburn Tigers, and the biggest games around the country play here.
Three-pointer. Clutch it in. Oh, you saw that coming, Ram.
The most live college basketball in the Panhandle.
Game is over.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida and the ESPN Northwest Florida app.
When it comes to backyard dreams, trust the name that's been making waves for over 65 years. Cox Pools. Serving the entire Florida Panhandle, Cox Pools brings experience, innovation, and quality to every custom pool design. From luxurious spas to resort-style pools, no vision is too big. Make your backyard the place to be with Cox Pools. Cox Pools, 65 years strong and still making a splash. Visit coxpools.com or call 850-235-7957.
Full residential and commercial projects from start to finish. Wheelhouse is ready to help. From the moment you have the thought to build to the moment you step through the front door of your finished project, Wheelhouse Consulting and Engineering will walk you through all of your aspirations. Engineering, site plans, live architectural design, construction, 3D rendering, permits, and more. Wheelhouse Consulting and Engineering, 850-896-6597, 850-896-6597, and online at wheelhousedba.com.
The Gator Boys are back.
Florida will cut down the nets. Winners of the national championship.
And ready to defend their national title.
Layup good and wide. Off the rim. Alley-oop dunk. Smashed down by Condon. Oh, yes, sir. Gets the foul line extended. Rises for three. Bang, he got it to the rack. Dunks it with two hands.
On your home for Florida basketball.
Florida versus Texas A&M. Coverage starts Saturday at 7 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Panama City, Lynn Haven, Callaway, 30A, Santa Rosa, Freeport, Mexico Beach, Port St. Joe, Youngstown, Blancetown, and Yorktown. The Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson.
The locals love it.
Dominating the dial at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your spot for college basketball right here in the Panhandle. Don't forget, you can check us out on Saturdays while you're riding around town, maybe picking up some stuff, maybe riding out to the beach. You can hear some of this college basketball that we got going on. A lot of Florida Gator time. But either way, you want to be a part of the show, you can be 850-215-6290. Want to go over a quick trade in the NFL, in the NBA that just happened today. The Memphis Grizzlies traded away star forward Jaren Jackson with John Concher, Jock Landale, and Vince Williams Jr. to the Utah Jazz for Walter Clayton Jr. of the former Florida Gator. Is going to be with the Memphis Grizzlies now. Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendricks, George Nang, and 3 future first-round picks. So that's breaking on ESPN.
Well, that's a lot.
That is a bunch. So that is a really good deal for Walter Clayton Jr. And I just, realistically, when you look at it, he wasn't getting his chances up in Utah with the guard play that they had. And so now it's good for the Gator to move to the Memphis area. And it looks like they're probably going to be getting rid of John Morant. So that's a big deal. So it says that with moving Jaren Jackson, they're going to go to the full rebuild, go to a newer team, kind of do the Charlotte Hornets mantra is we're going to go young. We're going to try to get a new young nucleus team and going to be a big deal going on there. So it'll be curious to see what happens over there with the NBA. We'll definitely dive in with tomorrow with Brandon whenever he brings on Brandon's recommendations for that. Now, we talked about earlier with Joe about the national championship game. And ever so often, I like to throw in some trivia stuff or some guessing. So I want to see with you and Bone Crusher if y'all could guess the top 4 most watched college championship football games. And I will give you a time period. So I'll say from 2005 until now. So 20 years. And you can see if you can pick the top 4 most watched football games of college football in the last 20 years. If you think about it, there are some really good ones, but I think there's going to be some super, super, super shockers to you, if not all of them, would be a shocker.
Now, I don't know all of the details of all of them, but one that certainly comes to mind is the year that Vince Young was with Texas.
Texas versus USC with Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush,
It
and
was
all
back
those.
and forth and just a shootout after. I mean, it was, and I'm going to tell you what, Vince Young put that team on his shoulders and
single-handedly.
Oh, my God.
Tim Tebow, Vince Young, and Cam Newton willed their teams to win. And I would even maybe put Derrick Henry in that.
But I would also put Jameis Winston in there as well.
Yeah, top
I mean,
five.
he's the reason that Florida State won their national championship.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, Randy, you are the owner here, and you take the number one spot. That was the number one
The
watch.
Texas game? The Texas USC?
versus USC. 35.6 million viewers watched that game.
That's crazy. That was just a guess, too.
In 2006. Bone Crusher.
I'm going to say the last game played, the national championship 2026.
Can you believe that was the fourth most watched game in the 20-year history of college football?
It was exciting. It was a good game. It was a good story.
I can't believe it. I can't. And that was number 4. 30.1 million viewers watched the Indiana-Miami game. And I'm just shocked. And can we say this? Did you see each game that Indiana played? They were the home team no matter where they were. They had more fans that traveled than any other team.
They had the most fans at the national championship game at Miami's house.
At Miami, yes, they did. And the tickets were astronomically high. And whatever people want to say about this, that, and the other. But Indiana, they traveled as good as Ohio State, as good as Alabama, if not better. I've never seen it being that way. I wondered if they were going to fill the stadium because this was going to be the first time that Miami filled the stadium. And when you look at the crowd, you saw all kinds of red. It wasn't orange. I thought it was going to be a lot more orange, but it wasn't. It was super, super duper red, and that was Indiana red, and I'm just amazed by that.
Well, Miami's always had that issue of Philip. Of course, they play in a pro stadium.
It's hard.
But it is hard. That's a lot of seats. But they've always struggled with it. And I think part of it is the fact that you've got the Dolphins, you've got the Heat. I mean, you've got all these other pro teams that are there, so they're competing with a lot of other sports, programs. Yeah. So the Dolphins, of course, are there. So I think that's probably part of it. The fact that they don't have an on-campus stadium, I think, plays into it as well. So,
and that's the hardest part. And everybody, and Taylor Devers is the biggest smack talker when it comes to Miami about them not being able to fill their stadium. Well, that's because it's a Miami Dolphins stadium. Right. Nobody hardly can fill that. And if you look at Doak, they took away seats at Doak, and they still didn't fill it and had $6 tickets. Sorry about that, Florida State fans. But either way, Randy, you want to try another one? I don't know if you can guess another one because these two are going to be shockers to me. I mean, maybe not one of them, but definitely the other one.
Oh, man, I tell you what, I'm trying to think of just an unbelievable game because I'll never forget that Texas game. I was like, oh, my God. It made me a fan, of Vince Young. Is one of them include Alabama?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured it did. That's why you keep pushing it. God bless what, Alabama... I don't know.
We'll have to go Alabama's first national championship with Nick Saban, which ended up being 2010, Alabama versus Texas, the night that Colt McCoy got hurt.
Oh, that's right.
And everybody said had Colt stayed going that there was a possibility that Alabama would lose. I don't agree with that, but either way, we'll move past that
We
part.
don't know.
But 30.8 million viewers. And Bone Crusher, I know you don't love Oregon, and I know you don't love Ohio State, so that was number 2, 33.7 million viewers. Oregon and Ohio State in 2015.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which I believe, I'm not sure about this, but I would like to look it up. I probably will. But the semifinal game, if y'all remember, that was when Alabama lost to Ohio State. If you remember that year, that was the year that they had all of their quarterbacks got hurt, and their third-string quarterback led them to the national championship, which Ezekiel Elliott was the running back for the good old Ohio State.
Now, what about the Alabama-Clemson national championship game?
It did not garner that. So, unfortunately, yeah. Just amazing. I guess maybe they got a little bit of fatigue on it. I'm not sure.
Now, what about Georgia's national championship? I would guess no, because I think Georgia fans are a little bit fickle. You know what I mean?
Whoa, he's going to start throwing more bugs.
Because you remember when Mark Richt was there, and it was like, man, they just browbeat him because he can get you to the big game, but he can't win it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now I hear a lot of this, a lot of chatter and stuff, about Kirby.
Yeah.
Are we going to get back, or is this it?
I think they're coming back. I think with Gunnar Stockton coming back into the fold for the second year as being the full-time starter, I think that's going to be the one. If you look at everybody that's ever won a national title except for Trevor Lawrence in the last 15, 20 years now, we're looking at someone that realistically has to be a second year. It's the second year to start somewhere. So that's the one that's been done. I want to do one more little quick one for y'all before we only have about 3 minutes left. But I want to ask, who do you think has the most starting quarterback appearances by college? So obviously everybody's going to get number one right. It's going to be Michigan because there's 10 appearances because of Brady, because he's been there 10 times. But who would you think would be second and third and fourth? Because that would be and it's appearances by the quarterback. So if they've been there more than once, that's an easier way to count. That's two. So either way.
Oh, man, that's a tough one.
It is tough.
So you're asking how many times a quarterback has appeared at a
Super Bowl from that college. So Michigan leads with 10 because Tom Brady's been to 10 Super Bowls.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, you're probably not going to get number two. I'll go ahead and give you number two just for the sake of time. Stanford. You got 7 appearances between Jim Plunkett and John Elway.
I would have never got that in a million years.
And then we'll go ahead and move on to number 3, which was Notre Dame. 7 appearances. Montana, Theismann, and LaMonica.
Wow.
And then where we wanted to go the whole time we brought up this whole statement, number 4, Alabama. You got Bart Starr, Joe Namath, Kenny Stabler, and now Jalen Hurts. 6 appearances, as well as Purdue had 6 appearances with Greasy Dawson and Drew Brees. And then 5, Cal, Cap, Morton, Rogers, and Goff. How about that? And then Mahomes, he had his 5. He pulls in Texas Tech all by his lonesome. And then you got Tarkenton and Stafford from the Georgia Bulldogs pulling in 4. Bradshaw did 4 for La Tech. Jim Kelly did 4 for Miami. Didn't win any. Staubach did 4 for the Navy. Manning did 4 for Tennessee. And then you got Kilmer and Aikman from UCLA. And then the last 2.
Did Manning ever win a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I thought
2.
he did.
He won 2. He won one at Indiana.
And one at
Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got 2. And then Roethlisberger, Miami of Ohio. He went to 3.
Wow.
And then Kurt Warner, UNI. He went to 3. So that's your ranked quarterbacks by the school.
Yeah.
So that's the deal. Let me ask you this. I know you're not going to be on the show anymore.
Why? Did I do that bad?
This week. How about that?
Okay.
All your Georgia Bulldog comments.
Yeah,
you're banned.
I got you banned.
He did this 3 times. That meant you're done for the whole time.
He's probably cutting the mic off.
So let me ask you this. You got the Seattle Seahawks. You got the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
All the history of both. They've even played in the Super Bowl as of recently. What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be one-sided at all. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think in the end, the Patriots are going to know the Super Bowl win.
Wow, so you're going to go with the upset?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You think Vrabel's going to be able to wheel those guys? Or you think it's going to be an offensive of a showcase, or you think it's going to be?
No, I think it's going to be a lot of defense. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be close the entire game, but I think in the end the Patriots will pull it off.
I don't think it's going to be a good game, and I think the Patriots are just happy to be there.
Really? You think Seahawks are just going to walk them over? Well, I'm going to be giving my pick on Friday. Let me give you a little bit of a preempt of what's coming for the next couple of days. We got Brandon coming in from Recommended. We've got college football signees from Mosley and Bay High School also. These kids have been working their tails off. They finally got some college signings going on for some of these other kids. They're going to be coming in with Coach Tommy Joe and with Coach Brown. They're coming in this week. And then we're going to start some baseball. Mosley head baseball coach Doug Lee's going to be joining the show
right
this
on.
weekend. And so that's going to be awesome. And then also just a programming note for Facebook. We're going to be going live tomorrow night at the Gulf Coast State Commodore basketball game over there on the campus of Gulf Coast. So we're really looking forward to that. And don't forget, Mosley as well is going to be having their basketball playoff going on Thursday night. So we got a busy week coming for you. Thanks for listening today. We will be back tomorrow. We got some great stuff headed this way. And don't forget, Super Bowl predictions are coming soon. You've been listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. See you tomorrow, guys.
Take ESPN Northwest Florida with you everywhere you go.
Anytime, anyplace, anywhere.
The sports talk and live play-by-play doesn't have to end when you get out of the car. The ESPN Northwest Florida app streams your favorite sports talk hosts and the biggest games in ultra-high fidelity.